Imagine a club of nations with one powerful rule: if any member is attacked, all others come to its defense. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's the very foundation of one of the world's most influential alliances. This is the core of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, a group that has shaped global security since its creation in 1949. For over 75 years, this alliance has been the backbone of security for its members, providing a sense of stability and collective strength during some of the world's most turbulent times, from the Cold War to the present day. But NATO is more than just a military pact. It's a political alliance built on shared values like democracy, liberty, and the rule of law. These principles unite its members and guide their cooperation. Today, the world is more unpredictable than ever, with new threats emerging constantly. Cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, terrorism, and aggressive states that challenge the international order. Some question if NATO is still relevant, or just a relic of the past, especially as the nature of conflict evolves and new global powers rise. But NATO's collective strength, its ability to pool resources, share intelligence, and coordinate military power, remains unmatched. Joint exercises and real-time cooperation make it a formidable force. The principle of Article 5, an attack on one is an attack on all, is still its most powerful deterrent, sending a clear message to any potential aggressor that NATO stands together. Over the decades, NATO has adapted its mission, from countering the Soviet Union to tackling peacekeeping, fighting terrorism, and now defending against digital threats and hybrid warfare. The central question now is whether NATO can keep evolving to meet the complex and fast-changing challenges of the 21st century, including climate change, cyber warfare, and shifting alliances. Its future depends on its ability to adapt, innovate, and perhaps most importantly, stay united in the face of adversity and internal disagreements. The answer to NATO's relevance will shape not just the security of its members, but the stability and peace of the entire world for years to come. To truly understand NATO and its significance, let's travel back to the year 1949, a pivotal moment in world history. Europe was still reeling from the devastation of World War II. Cities lay in ruins, economies were shattered, and millions of people were displaced. But as the continent struggled to rebuild, a new and ominous threat began to emerge: the growing influence and military power of the Soviet Union in Eastern Europe. In response, 12 nations, including the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Canada, came together to form the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. Their goal was clear: to deter Soviet aggression, protect fragile democracies, and ensure that the horrors of another world war would never be repeated. The alliance quickly began building up its military capabilities. Member countries standardized equipment, shared intelligence, and created a unified command structure, making it easier to coordinate defense across borders. Throughout the Cold War, NATO became the shield that protected Western Europe during some of the most dangerous and tense moments in modern history, including the Berlin Crisis and the Cuban Missile Crisis. The presence of American troops and nuclear weapons on European soil served as a powerful deterrent, helping to keep the peace and prevent direct conflict for over 40 years. But NATO was always more than just a military alliance or a collection of armies. It fostered deep political cooperation and trust among its members, providing a forum to manage disagreements, resolve disputes, and maintain unity even in times of crisis. Regular meetings and consultations built habits of cooperation, creating a sense of shared purpose and mutual responsibility that went beyond military matters. This political dimension was crucial for keeping the alliance cohesive under pressure, allowing it to adapt to new challenges and maintain solidarity. NATO came to symbolize the enduring transatlantic bond between Europe and North America, a partnership based on shared values and common interests. Its unique combination of military strength and political solidarity has made NATO the most successful and enduring alliance in modern history, celebrated by leaders and citizens alike. Even after the Soviet threat faded, NATO's legacy of unity, adaptation, and collective defense endured, guiding its response to new security challenges. The alliance's story is one of constant reinvention, welcoming new members, embracing new missions, and evolving to meet the demands of a changing world. That's why, more than 70 years after its founding, NATO remains as relevant and vital as ever in today's complex global landscape. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 was a turning point in European history, symbolizing the end of decades of division between East and West. Soon after, the collapse of the Soviet Union left NATO at a crossroads, uncertain about its future purpose in a rapidly changing world. Some believed NATO's original mission, to counter the Soviet threat, was now obsolete, and questioned whether the alliance should continue to exist at all. But others saw a new opportunity to anchor democracy and stability in Central and Eastern Europe, helping former communist countries transition to free societies. In response, NATO adopted an open-door policy, inviting new members from the former Warsaw Pact. For countries like Poland, Hungary, and the Czech Republic, joining NATO was more than a strategic move. It was a symbolic return to the Western family of nations and a step toward security and prosperity. Expansion continued throughout the 2000s, bringing in the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, as well as several Balkan countries, each eager to secure their independence and future. Every new member had to meet strict democratic and military standards, ensuring that the alliance remained strong and unified. This process helped spread stability, security, and democratic norms across a once-divided continent, reshaping Europe's political landscape. However, NATO's growth was not welcomed by everyone. Russia viewed the alliance's eastward expansion as a threat to its own security and a violation of past assurances. These tensions over enlargement fueled mistrust and set the stage for future conflicts between Russia and the West. NATO has always insisted that its expansion is purely defensive, aimed at promoting peace and cooperation. But Moscow continues to see it as a direct challenge to its influence and security interests. The debate over NATO's borders and its role remains central to global security discussions, influencing international relations to this day. The enlargement of NATO not only transformed the alliance itself, but also changed the political and security landscape of Europe and the world. The choices NATO made after the Cold War continue to shape today's geopolitics, affecting alliances, rivalries, and the balance of power. The legacy of NATO's expansion is complex, bringing both new opportunities for peace and cooperation and new challenges that still echo across the globe. In today's unstable world, NATO is still the ultimate insurance policy for its members. Article 5's promise of collective defense is as vital as ever, especially for smaller states facing powerful adversaries. NATO's strength lies in its unity. Over 30 countries combining military power, intelligence, and resources. It's also a unique political forum where North America and Europe coordinate on global security. When NATO speaks with one voice, it shapes the world stage. The alliance's military power is unmatched thanks to decades of joint training and interoperability. NATO's readiness ensures it can respond to any crisis from natural disasters to military threats. The alliance is also a hub for innovation, preparing for future conflicts in cyberspace and beyond. By pooling expertise, NATO stays ahead of technological threats. Its focus on innovation is key to maintaining its edge. NATO's adaptability is what keeps it relevant. The alliance's strength and unity are more important than ever. NATO faces its most complex challenges yet. Russia's aggression in Ukraine has forced the alliance to refocus on collective defense. China's rise presents a different test: global influence, technology, and economic power. Internal disagreements over defense spending and strategy threaten unity. Adversaries exploit these divisions to weaken the alliance. New threats, cyber attacks, disinformation, terrorism, and climate change cross borders and defy old strategies. NATO must adapt to these non-traditional risks. The alliance's future depends on its ability to stay united and flexible. Meeting these challenges is NATO's defining task. Russia's war in Ukraine has transformed Europe's security landscape. NATO has reinforced its eastern flank, deploying troops to deter further aggression. Russia uses hybrid warfare, cyber attacks, disinformation, and energy blackmail to destabilize its neighbors. NATO must build resilience not just militarily, but across society. Meanwhile, China's long-term ambitions challenge the global order. China's economic influence and technological advances could shift the balance of power. NATO allies are working to secure technology, diversify supply chains, and defend democratic values. The challenge from China is about systemic competition, not direct military conflict. NATO must engage where possible but compete where necessary. The alliance's response to these pressures will define its future. Some of NATO's toughest challenges come from within. Disputes over defense spending and strategic priorities create friction among members. Eastern allies focus on Russia, while southern members worry about instability and migration. Political divisions and rising nationalism can erode solidarity. New threats like cyber attacks blur the lines of conflict. Does a cyber attack trigger Article 5? NATO must develop clear responses to these gray zone threats. Disinformation and populism can undermine public support for the alliance. Leaders must make the case for NATO's value to their citizens. The alliance's strength depends on unity, both among governments and in the hearts of the public. NATO is transforming to meet new challenges. The alliance has boosted military readiness, with new defense plans and rapid response forces. Investment in technology is a top priority. Initiatives like Diana and the Innovation Fund keep NATO at the cutting edge. NATO is deepening partnerships with countries in the Indo-Pacific and supporting Ukraine with training and equipment. The recent addition of Finland and Sweden strengthens the alliance's northern flank. These changes show NATO is not just reacting, but actively shaping its future. Adaptation through readiness, innovation, and partnerships is key. The alliance's open-door policy remains a vital tool for security. NATO's evolution is ongoing, ensuring it stays fit for purpose. The future will be shaped by how well it adapts now. What lies ahead for NATO? The best-case scenario: a revitalized alliance, united by shared threats and mastering new technologies. Members meet defense commitments, partnerships flourish, and NATO upholds the global order. More likely is a future of muddling through, unity on big issues but constant internal squabbles, and crisis management. The worst-case deep divisions paralyze NATO, a key member withdraws, and adversaries exploit the chaos. Europe's peace and stability would be shattered. NATO stands at a crossroads. Its strengths are immense, but so are its challenges. For 75 years it has adapted and endured. Now it must reinvent itself again for an era of great power competition. Its future depends on the will and commitment of its members. A weak NATO makes the world more dangerous. Keeping the alliance strong and united is one of the most important tasks of our time.